families, I wanted to take a moment to explain the UFLI papers that will be coming home with your child every week. Every week we do teach 2 UFLI lessons. Each UFLI lesson is 2 days. So this was lesson 6, so we had a day 1 and a day 2 on these foundational skills. The letter sound for P, P. And then lesson 7, I believe, had 2 instructional days on the foundational skills, including the letter sound for F. So when you receive, actually, let me back up. Your child is taking sort of what looks like a spelling test, but there's no memorization with our CVC words. It's different from an old school spelling test because the students are taught how to sound out those words and how to encode or write those words appropriately. So for example, for this problem, I tell the kids, write the letter that spells P, and they need to write the letter P. Then over here, I'll say, write the word map. I do not sound out the word for them. They actually have to sound that out themselves because I have instructed all week on how to do that. And we do the same routines in UFLI daily. So they've been exposed to it numerous times. As we move throughout the year, they will get better at this, I promise. It is a new skill. We've only taken 2 UFLI assessments, and I did not send last week's home just because I don't think it's a fair reflection of the students' learning because it was their first try. So I did not send that home for parents to see because I didn't want to be misleading. In our assessments, we also have the heart words. For example, the word I is currently a heart word because we have not learned the long vowel sound for I. So a heart word is any word that students are unable to sound out. Another heart word would be the word see because it is spelled S-E-E, and those letters do not follow they don't follow the rules for the kids, so they have to know that word by heart. So getting back to the paper, every week one will come home, hopefully on Fridays, unless something occurs during my planning period that I cannot grade them on Friday, then they will come home on Monday. So Monday or Friday, you'll receive their paper, and there will be 2 scores, actually 4 total. So you'll see 2 scores up here and then 2 down here. The reason that happens is because the scores are split into different lessons in order to help me intervene for students who need a little bit of extra practice. So for example, you'll see a new concept score and then a total score. By new concept, it means any concept or foundational skill that was taught this week. So my highlighted skills here, all of these words have the letter sound for the letter P. So any words that the students need to write that have that is considered a new concept. Then we would also have, as the year progresses, of course, some spiral review skills. And I'll get to that probably down on the next lesson. You'll see that occur. So anything highlighted is a new concept. So for lesson 6, there were 3 words that contained the letter sound P, so those are considered a new concept. And then we also had the heart word I. None of the heart words are ever going to be considered in the new concept score, just because those are going to be spiral reviewed every single lesson that we do. So the reason that I have a new concept score is because whenever I am entering my data, I take a look at that score, and that tells me which students need to be pulled for an intervention group the following week. So if a student misses 1 or 2 of those new concept words for lesson 6, they will be pulled into a small group with me that following week to review the letter sound P, and we'll be reteaching those UFLI lessons for them. If they receive a 3 out of 3, they're not going to be pulled for that specific lesson. The total score is basically kind of pretty much for parents, I use that new concept score for all of my intervening. Now, if we go down to lesson 7, down here below, you'll see that there are 2 new concept words for the letter sound F. So the new concept score would be out of 2. And then the total score is out of 5, because you'll notice that the word tap is from the previous lesson. So that is not considered a new concept. That is considered just into the total. However, of course, I'm going to be looking at that word as well, because we just taught that in this week's lessons as well. So if a student misses one of those or both of those, they will be pulled into a small group instruction for the letter sound of F. So as you can see, a child could be pulled into 2 separate groups if they are low, if they do not show mastery of the new concept on either lesson. They could be pulled into one small group for one lesson. So when I say one small group, I mean for the week. So depending on the score for the new concept will determine how many days in the week that I do pull the children. And then an assessment is given at the end of the week to reassess, and that does not go home. That is for me to know if I need to intervene again. Of course, if this is a continuous problem, if I see a student going into intervention groups every single week, of course I'm going to let the parents know. We'll conference and I can share some more data with you. But that retest score is just for me to be able to document and to say, yes, that student has shown mastery after the reteach, or we need to continue to spiral review that skill. I hope all that makes sense. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to reach out. I know it's a lot of information, but UFLI is a program that I really, really feel passionate about. I've taught for 23 years and I've never really had a foundational skills program that's shown so much growth in my students every single year. And I've used it for 3 years. This will be the 4th year, I believe, that we're using it. And we've seen tremendous growth with our students because it's so concrete, it's so sequential, and it's very repetitive. The routines are the same every single lesson, and we see lots of success with it. So I just wanted to kind of touch base with you on that and let you know how to kind of tell the difference between the 2 scores and when they come home, because there are lots of numbers on this paper. So again, if you're looking at that new concept score, that's going to tell you how your child scored on the concepts that were taught that week. And then the total is going to be like an overall picture of the spiral reviewed and the heart words as well. So keep that in mind. And of course, if you see your child's paper come home, it's always great to review those words and those letters as well at home. And every week you will be getting those 2 homework papers that will show you what skills we're working on for that specific week. And that's also going to be in our monthly newsletter as well. All right, I hope everyone's having a great weekend. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thanks so much.